Hey guys, this is God of Politics. We'll go into a brand new video, but before we get started with this video, please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But in today's video, I will be doing a video that many other people have done in the past. This is not a new or original idea, but I was asked to do this video by many people over the past couple of weeks. And this is an alternate history video, which I have been doing a couple of in the past couple of weeks, and I will be doing more in the future, especially if you guys do enjoy these types of videos. But this video is an alternate history video between Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden versus John McCain and Sarah Palin. This is the election if Hillary Clinton had actually won the nomination against Barack Obama, which she really, in all seriousness, could have done. There's a lot of states that Hillary Clinton did narrowly win, but there's also a lot of states that she narrowly lost, and she did barely lose to Barack Obama in the popular vote, and she barely lost to him in terms of the delegates as well. So there was a very clear path for her to get the nomination. And as we all know, Barack Obama, who did end up winning the nomination, ended up going on to win in what I would call a landslide. He won the popular vote by around 7 percentage points, winning by 365 electoral votes to John McCain's just 173 electoral votes. But this is going to be the election if it was Hillary Clinton as the nominee. And I have put Joe Biden as the VP nominee because he was a good candidate for a lot of working class voters, and Hillary Clinton was a good candidate for those working class voters too, but I do believe that, Hillary Clinton could have picked Barack Obama to be her VP as well, but I do believe that she would have picked someone like Joe Biden, someone more, less problematic, has a lot of experience in the Senate, similar to the needs that Barack Obama would have had, but the VP pick doesn't matter really that much. It's just to have someone else on the ticket. But let's get started with the safe states, and those do include not many for John McCain and Sarah Palin, and that includes first Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, all of Nebraska except for the 2nd District, Kansas, Oklahoma, Alaska, Texas, Arkansas, actually not Arkansas, Louisiana, I'm used to all the 2020 maps, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, as well as South Carolina will probably be just on the cusp of being safe, so I will put that in the safe column there. And that is actually all of the safe electoral votes, and it looks like a very, very weird map for John McCain and Sarah Palin, but those are all of the safe electoral votes. And then for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, they would win Washington, Oregon, California, Nevada, New Mexico, as well as Illinois, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. These are areas that used to go Democrat for quite a long time, and Barack Obama ended up winning a lot of these states by a lot. He won Michigan by 17, Wisconsin by 14, Minnesota by 10, Pennsylvania by 10. I do believe, actually, I'll put Pennsylvania not in the safe column for now, but all those states would have been safe, as well as Maryland, Virginia, New Jersey, Connecticut, D.C., Rhode Island, Massachusetts, Vermont, as well as New Hampshire and all of Maine and New York. So that puts Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden all the way up to 233 electoral votes just based off of the safe states, plus actually one more state, which is Hawaii, Barack Obama's home state, which would put Hillary Clinton up to 237 electoral votes to just 111 safe electoral votes, safe meaning states won by over 10 percentage points, for John McCain and Sarah Palin. Now for the likely states, I do believe that Tennessee and West Virginia would have both been likely states. I also believe Georgia would have been a likely state. If you look at Tennessee and West Virginia, these are states that actually trended Republican in 2008 from 2004. West Virginia, very narrow trend. Tennessee, quite a big trend, actually. If we do go over here to Tennessee, we can see that Tennessee was plus 14 in 2004, plus 15 in 2008, and that's considering the fact that, the electorate was much more Democratic overall. And you can see that the county shifts in this Appalachia area were very Republican, actually, but Hillary Clinton did do very well in these states in the primary. If you look at a state like West Virginia, Hillary completely trounced Obama, winning every single county. You can look at a state like Tennessee as well, where Hillary Clinton won the primary there as well. So she did do very well in these places, and if you actually do look at, some of the other places on the map that I'll talk about later, Hillary Clinton did very well in these rural areas, particularly in the Midwest and Appalachia. Not as much, the Rust Belt, but, some of these areas like Indiana, Ohio, West Virginia, and that is why I do believe that West Virginia and Tennessee would have both been states that would have gone by a likely margin, and I also do believe, obviously, Arizona would have gone by a likely margin. That is John McCain's home state. Seems to think, it's weird now to think that this is a blue state, or at least a purple state that I would say is a little slight shift to the blue column, given there's 2 Democratic senators and it elected a Democrat, but that's beside the point. I also believe North Dakota and South Dakota would have both been likely margin states, so that's 49 electoral votes worth of likely margin states. And these areas, South Dakota went to Hillary Clinton by an 11-point margin. North Dakota went to Obama by a pretty strong margin, but again, this is the beginning of the primary, so it's a little bit different. And I don't like to use primaries as too big of an indicator, but most of these primaries were pretty much a two-way race between these two candidates, so it does show the strengths and weaknesses in different regions that ended up proving to be crucial in the actual election. And so I do believe that Hillary Clinton would have done well in North Dakota and South Dakota, and she would have pushed that margin down to a likely margin. These are states that have not actually been that Republican historically. Yes, of course, they've been Republican states, but, Democrats have done all right in the past. If we do look at, the 1992 election, they were closer in 1992 than they are now, obviously. If we go back to 1992, we can see here, 3 points for George Bush, 12 points in North Dakota. So, they are states that have been closer historically. So I am going to put those at a likely margin. Then for Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden, I do believe they would have won Colorado, Iowa, Pennsylvania by likely margins, which already puts them over the 270 electoral vote mark. I do believe that Colorado is actually the tipping point state in 2008, so you would have seen a similar, probably Colorado being the tipping point state in this election as well. Pennsylvania, I do believe Hillary Clinton would have done a little bit worse in the Philadelphia area, and she would have done a little bit worse in the Allegheny County area, but she would have done better in the rural areas to kind of cancel it out, but it would have been just on the cusp of being safe. Similar thing with Iowa. Iowa's a state that was quite Democratic at the time, but I do believe Hillary Clinton maybe, just specifically with this state, would have done a little bit worse in northeastern Iowa. Obama did very, very well compared to John Kerry, who actually lost the state, but I do believe, Hillary Clinton would have won it easily, just not by a safe margin. So the lean margin states next for John McCain, I do believe that Arkansas would have been a lean margin state. This is kind of hard to gauge because if you actually look at the trends from 2016 to 2020, Arkansas is one of the few states that trended towards the Republicans, and it trended a lot in some cases, showing that, maybe Hillary Clinton did do better because she was the wife of Bill Clinton, who was from the state of Arkansas. He was the governor of the state of Arkansas. So, maybe that did have a factor. And if we do look, obviously, at the that's Oklahoma. But if we do look at the Arkansas primary, we can see here that Hillary Clinton got 70% of the vote here. So I don't think that the state would have trended red in the way that it did. If you look at the voting shifts, pretty much every single county except for 3 counties or a couple counties in Arkansas did trend towards John McCain in 2008. I don't believe that would have happened, and it did go to McCain by 20 percentage points, but if we go back to 2004, Bush only won it by just under 10 percentage points, and he only won it by 5 percentage points in 2000. So this is the state that I do believe would have been closer. I think maybe if Hillary Clinton had a really good year, she could have actually won the state, but people have to remember this is a completely different time. This is not 2020 where we see completely polarized states. And sure, times were very polarized to this, but Hillary Clinton did not have the same baggage that she does now or she did in 2016 when she was running. She had not been Secretary of State. She was not seen as a corrupt figure. She was actually quite a good candidate, and I do believe that she could have done as well in Obama in a lot of places, if not better. So that's a state that I do believe would have been just a lean margin for John McCain, and I do believe that's actually all of the lean margin states. However, I do believe Ohio and Virginia would have both been lean margin states for Hillary Clinton. She did win the Ohio primary, and she did very well in these rural areas that have been the problem for Democrats in the state of Ohio because of the fact that they've trended towards the Republicans. Virginia, Hillary Clinton did do that well in the primary, but I just believe that the trend was really always there. On top of the fact that it's a diversifying state, you do have the suburbs which have been trending blue for quite a while now, and I do believe Hillary Clinton would have capitalized on that. And I do believe those are all of the lean margin states. Actually, probably believe Florida probably would have been a lean margin state too. She would have done a lot. She would have done better in the Miami-Dade area. Barack Obama only won it by 17 percentage points. If you look at 2016, Hillary Clinton won Miami-Dade County by 30 percentage points. And this is a state that Bill Clinton didn't win in 1992, but he won in 1996. And he did better in the rural areas, just like Hillary Clinton did in the primary herself. And so I do believe that she would have been able to win the state of Florida by a lean margin, putting her all the way up to 332 electoral votes. And then the final 4 states we have here, 2 of them I do think would have gone to John McCain. I do believe North Carolina would have been razor thin, just like it was in the actual election. I do believe that the the turnout in the urban areas, the Raleigh areas, the Winston-Salem, Charlotte, etc., would have been a little bit lower for Hillary Clinton, particularly amongst black voters, and I do believe that wouldn't have been able to push her over the top, but she might have done a little bit better in the rural areas, because if we do look at the rural areas of the state of North Carolina, Barack Obama actually did do quite well, and there is room for Republicans to gain in the state of North Carolina, especially in these rural areas. A lot of these rural areas were very close. Hillary Clinton could have done better in those areas, but I do believe that she wouldn't have done better in the urban areas, and it would have cost her, but it would have been a very close state regardless. Montana is a state that did have a big trend from 2004 to 2008, and I do believe Hillary Clinton could have done better there as well, just like she did better in my prediction for North Dakota and South Dakota. This is a state that was plus 21 in 2004, plus 2 in 2008. Why that trend happened is another question, but I do believe Hillary Clinton would have had a similar trend. But both Missouri and Indiana and Nebraska's 2nd district, I do believe, would have gone to Hillary Clinton. Indiana went to Obama in real life. Missouri barely missed it, but Hillary Clinton did do very well in the rural areas here, and I do believe that she would have been able to get good margins in the urban areas, as well as getting better margins than Obama in the rural areas, and I do believe that would have given her a narrow victory in states that Indiana hasn't been historically Democrat, but Missouri is a state that has gone Democrat before. If we do go back to 1992 and to 1996, Bill Clinton did win these states, and he won them quite easily, to be honest. He won it by a safe margin in 1992, and he did very well in these rural areas, as you can see, and you can see Obama did worse in a lot of these areas of Missouri. Well, no, he didn't do worse, but he didn't do as well as I do believe Hillary Clinton would have, and I do believe Hillary Clinton would have got not similar margins to Bill Clinton, but better margins certainly than Obama did, and that would have given her a narrow victory, because John McCain only won the state by 3,000 votes, which is pretty remarkable. In the end, I would think you would have seen a similar trend to Barack Obama, what he got, but it's really funny how that trend happened in Indiana, because Hillary Clinton won the state of Indiana in the primary, and she did very well in these rural areas, yet you still had those insane swings from 2004 to 2008. It's a whole other question to talk about, and in Nebraska's 2nd, I just believe the more Democratic national environment would have pushed it over to Hillary Clinton's column, but this is the final map here. It looks very cursed if you compare it to the 2020 map, but it does have Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden at 354 electoral votes to John McCain and Sarah Palin's 184 electoral votes. I would consider this a landslide. The states that Hillary Clinton would have won that Obama didn't were Missouri, and the states that Obama did but Hillary Clinton would be North Carolina. Hillary Clinton would do better in this Appalachia area, and she would have done a little bit better in some of these Rust Belt areas, maybe a little bit worse in some of them, but Obama would have done better in states like Mississippi, where there's a higher black population, states like North Carolina, states like South Carolina, states like Georgia, maybe in areas like Metro, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But, overall, you would have seen a similar map. The economic crash in 2008, the Great Recession occurring, it did pretty much end the election right then and there. John McCain was never really going to win this election. He probably wouldn't have won the election before the recession. I think against Obama, he could have won the election, but against Hillary Clinton, I don't think he would have won the election. But, then the recession came. There was no chance he was ever going to win against Obama, and I don't think there would have been any chance he would win against Hillary Clinton either. And Hillary Clinton would have been the 44th president of the United States. It would be a completely different future, but it would be something that would be quite interesting to see. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also follow me on Twitter and join the Discord. Those are both linked down in the description. But again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.